Hello students, welcome to the first lesson for this term. Our first topic for this term will be Science Laboratory Safety Rules. It is very important to know the rules before we enter the science lab. Okay students, the objective of our lesson today would be for you to recognize the lab safety symbols and their meanings. You will have to demonstrate the safe behavior before entering, while in the lab, and before you leave the lab. You need to as well use the lab apparatus safely, as well as you need to be able to identify the safe and unsafe practices. Okay students, in this slide you will notice a man wearing a complete PPE suit. What is a PPE suit? A PPE suit is a personal protective equipment which refers to a wearable gear or clothing designed to protect you from any injuries. So if you look at the man, he's wearing goggles to protect his eyes, gloves to protect his skin, a lab coat, as well as closed-toe shoes. You should also remember to avoid having any direct contact with chemicals and never to touch your face. Remember to always follow instructions and make sure to ask questions if you are unsure of something. There should be no horseplay or distraction in class during the session in the lab. You should label and handle all chemicals with care. You should never smell or taste these chemicals because they could be poisonous and or acidic. Besides that, students should handle glassware as well as apparatus and instruments carefully to avoid accidents. You should turn off equipments when they are not in use after you have completed your work. So students, why is actually the lab safety so important? Lab safety rules and symbols are needed, and it's very important for you to know this to avoid any injury for yourselves or your classmates. Now, look at this slide and think, then list five, at least five mistakes that you can see in this picture. So students, in the previous slide, we discussed about the safety of using the lab while in lab. Now, how about the first aid? What happens if there's an accident? I'm sure all of you we all go through some accidents. So you should know some first aid methods as well. Now, when there is a burn, by any chance there's an accident and there's a burn, the first thing you should do is to flush the part of the burn part with cold water until the burning sensation is lessened. Besides that, if there are any bruises or cuts that happen to you, then you should not touch the open wound without any gloves. You should apply cold compress to the bruises so it can reduce the swelling. If there is any injury to your eyes, you must remember to flush your eyes immediately with lots and water for a few minutes. Do not rub your eyes, as this can lead to severe damage of your eye. This slide shows you the safety equipments that you can actually find in our labs. The first one would be the first aid kit with all the medicines and lotions or creams in it for minor injuries. A fire extinguisher for putting out any fire. The eye wash station is where you wash your eyes if there's a chemical spray on your eyes. And an emergency shower is used for larger chemical spills on any part of your body. Now students, the last two slides would be the lab safety symbols. So these are the symbols that you can see in most science labs, be it in school or in universities or in companies. For example, biohazards, explosive materials, flammables, and more. However, now, what happens in case there's an accident that occurs in the science lab? Remember, the first step is to stay calm and inform your teacher immediately. Number two is to follow the emergency procedures. Three is to do eye wash or shower if there's a need in case of a chemical spill. And finally will be to evacuate the lab if there is a need.